All right, guys, this is putting numbers in order from either least to greatest or greatest to least. So before we even start that, we need to know how to put numbers all in decimal form. So let's say we get a percent. I'm going to show you a calculator trick that I've actually never showed any one of my classes ever before. Maybe this will help so you won't get so confused. So here's your calculator right here. This is what your calculator looks like. If I go ahead and put 8% in there, this is how I do it. Hit 8, the number 8 right here. And then see all the yellow things right here? The way that you press the buttons and make them yellow is you hit the second button first. So hit the second. And then right above the 2 is a little percent sign. So hit the number 2. And what that does is it automatically makes it into a decimal for you. So 0.5, clear it and try it on your own. 0.5, hit the second and make it a percent, and that should be 0.005. Okay, so that's a little trick that I have for you. We're going to keep going. You guys know how to do fractions in the calculator. You do top. This fraction bar means divided by, right? We've already said that. So what's 1 divided by 4? And you get 0.25. Unfortunately, there's not a way to make a decimal a percent, only a percent a decimal. So if you make it a percent and you know you're trying to go the opposite way, then you know which way you're trying to go. Another way to remember that is Dr. Pepper or the alphabet. If you're going from a decimal to a percent, you go to the right because that's the way the alphabet goes. If you're going from a percent back to a decimal, you go to the left because that's the way that D goes on the alphabet. All right, remember that descending starts with a D, we're going down, so biggest going down to smallest, and ascending goes up. So what I need to do if I get a list of numbers like this is I need to go ahead and make them all decimals. So a fraction, top divided by bottom, gives me 0.75. I'm going to put them on a list here for me, okay? 7.5%. So you can use your new trick. 7.5 second percent gives me 0.075. Notice that I lined up the decimal points. I'm going to keep lining them up as I go down so I can look at them. 7.5 times 10 to the negative third power. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I do have a scientific notation trick, but it's not for this kind. It's to make it into scientific notation. This kind's easy though. You just follow what it tells you. The decimal moves 3 spots to the negative means left, positive means right. So we have negative. 1, 2, 3. Fill in your zeros. So point or 0.0075. And last but not least, this is already decimal. You don't have to do anything to it. 0.745. So my second goal here, after I've gotten all my list, is to check down my list and see what I want to do. My directions say that I'm going in ascending, which means up, or least to greatest. So I'm looking at my first column. All of them are 0. That doesn't help me place them. I'm looking at my second column. I have a 0 and a 0. So those are the ones I want to keep looking at. I'll look at my third one. Again, I have a 0. That's the least. Right here, I have my least number, which is 0.0075. And in our case is the, I think the scientific notation one, 7.5 times 10 to the negative third. I'm going to write it in its original form. Okay, so I've already used this number. Cross it all out. And keep going. I'm going to use a different color here. So 0, 0, 0, that doesn't help. 7, 0, and 7. Now this is automatically the smallest number because it's the only one with a 0. So that would be 75%, or 7.5%, I'm sorry. 7.5%. And I'm actually going from, oh yeah, I'm going from least to greatest. I'm good. Okay, so cross it out. Now we're looking for 0, 0. That's good. 7, 7. Still even. 5, 4. Which one's least? The 4. So that's our next number, 745. And then last but not least, the 3/4. Now don't be lazy with this. Do both steps. turn them all into decimals and stack them, and then put them in order from least to greatest. You will get them right every single time, especially with your new calculator trick. Okay, so that's all I have for ordering numbers. Put them as decimals. You can even make them all percents if you want, if you know how to do that. And then stack them to see which one's the biggest or smallest depending on what you're saying or what it's asking. Okay?